The Deception. The massive crystalline ship of the Galactic Alliance hung in Earth's orbit like an elaborate chandelier, its iridescent hull refracting sunlight into dazzling patterns across the planet below. 5 years had passed since first contact, and humanity had eagerly embraced its role as the newest member of the interstellar community. The Alliance presented itself as a benevolent confederation of 189 spacefaring species, all committed to peaceful coexistence and mutual advancement. Commander Nadia Reeves stood at attention on the observation deck of Earth's orbital platform, watching as yet another Alliance delegation arrived to discuss technology-sharing initiatives. Her enhanced eyes, military-grade ocular implants that the Alliance representatives had subtly discouraged, caught details others missed. The slight tensing of Ambassador Killorn's secondary breathing membranes whenever humans mentioned certain technological aspirations. The careful way Alliance engineers steered conversations away from particular fields of research. "Commander, they're ready for the security briefing," her aide whispered. Nadia nodded, her face betraying nothing. 10 years in Earth's special forces had taught her patience. Something wasn't right with Earth's cosmic benefactors, and she intended to find out what. The Alliance continues to value Earth's unique cultural contributions, Ambassador Killorn was saying, his translucent appendages gesturing elegantly. The tall, willowy alien resembled a humanoid mantis with opalescent skin that shifted colors with his moods. "We are particularly impressed with your species' remarkable adaptability. Yet you've denied our requests for gravitic propulsion technology 3 times, General Watkins noted, his weathered face impassive. "Merely developmental protocols," Killorn replied smoothly. "Each species must progress along appropriate technological pathways. Some advances, if implemented prematurely, could have unforeseen consequences." Nadia noticed Killorn's skin flush briefly purple, a sign of anxiety she catalogued over months of careful observation. Later that evening, Nadia met with Dr. Marcus Chen in his laboratory beneath Geneva. The exobiologist had been one of the first humans granted access to Alliance medical databases. "Their explanations don't add up," Nadia said, pacing the length of the lab. "Every technology they withhold would make us more self-sufficient or more formidable in space." Marcus nodded, pulling up comparison charts on his holographic display. "And I found something else interesting. Look at these physiological comparisons across Alliance species." The data showed stark contrasts between humans and all 189 Alliance members. Human endurance, healing rates, pain tolerance, and environmental adaptability consistently fell at the extreme end of every scale. "According to their medical classifications, we're aberrations," Marcus explained. "Our ability to function with broken bones, survive radiation exposure, or endure in hostile environments, capabilities we take for granted, are considered statistically impossible by Alliance standards. They're afraid of us," Nadia realized. "It goes deeper," Marcus said, lowering his voice despite the lab's security screening. "I found references to something called a death world classification in their xenobiology database before my access was revoked. I think Earth is one." Over the next 3 months, Nadia assembled a cover team of intelligence analysts, xenobiologists, and communication specialists. Operating outside official channels, they pieced together fragments of intercepted Alliance communications, unauthorized database fragments, and observational anomalies. The picture that emerged was disturbing. Earth wasn't a fortunate civilization discovered by benevolent cosmic neighbors. It was a carefully monitored potential threat. The treaties and technological exchanges weren't designed to elevate humanity but to contain it. The breakthrough came when Lieutenant Kira Yamamoto, a linguistics specialist on Nadia's team, decrypted a secure transmission between an Alliance military vessel and her headquarters. The message contained a security assessment of human capabilities, labeled Containment Protocol Status. Earth. "They've been monitoring us for centuries," Kira explained, displaying the translated text. "They call Earth a Class 5 death world. a planet with environmental conditions so extreme that it produces species with abnormal survival traits. According to this, most Alliance worlds have gravity between 0.3 and 0.7 Earth, normal, minimal seasonal variation, stable weather patterns, and limited predatory evolution. While Earth, Marcus began, has been trying to kill us since we evolved. Nadia finished. High gravity, extreme weather, predators, diseases, radiation. We evolved through constant existential threats. There's more, Kira said grimly. The Alliance has protocols for Death World species. Standard procedure is to monitor until they reach early space exploration, then implement guided development to ensure they don't become a galactic threat. The implications were staggering. Humanity's cosmic luck, being discovered at precisely the right moment in their development, had been a carefully orchestrated containment strategy. The situation came to a head unexpectedly. During a routine training exercise near Mars, a structural failure aboard an Alliance observer ship caused catastrophic decompression. Without thinking, a team of human engineers on a nearby vessel breached standard safety protocols, exposed themselves to near-vacuum conditions, and managed to rescue 15 Alliance crew members. What the humans considered an emergency response, the Alliance saw it as confirmation of their worst fears. Humans had willingly entered conditions that should have killed them instantly, performing complex tasks while suffering injuries that would have incapacitated any Alliance species. Hidden recording devices in Earth's diplomatic sector captured an emergency meeting of the Alliance Council. Ambassador Killorn stood before the assembled representatives, his skin cycling through alarmed color patterns. The containment protocols are failing, he reported, mandibles clicking in agitation. The humans are developing too quickly, questioning our restrictions, and displaying combat and survival capabilities that exceed our models. A reptilian counselor rose, scales bristling. We have seen this before with the Krell. We cannot allow another predator species to gain interstellar capabilities without proper limitations. The humans suspect nothing of their true classification. Another counselor noted, their treaties still restrict their military development and expansion. For how long? Killorn asked. They're already questioning our technological restrictions. Some of their scientists have accessed classified databases. It's only a matter of time before they discover what they truly are, and what we've been doing. The recording ended with the Council voting to implement enhanced containment measures and to consult with the Vorax Imperium, supposedly the Alliance's bitter rivals, about the human situation. When Nadia presented these findings to Earth's Unified Security Council, she expected disbelief. Instead, she found grim acceptance. We suspected something wasn't right, Admiral Hassan said, his dark eyes thoughtful. Their technology sharing has been suspiciously selective. They see us as monsters, General Watkins muttered. Evolutionary abominations that need to be controlled. No, Nadia corrected. They see us as predators. And they're the prey. The Security Council debated through the night. By morning, they had reached a decision. Humanity would not confront the Alliance immediately. They needed time to prepare. Instead, they would play along while secretly developing technologies the Alliance had guided them away from. Most importantly, they would embrace what the Alliance feared most about them, the very adaptability and resilience that had allowed humans to survive on a death world. While the Alliance had been trying to contain humanity's predatory potential, Earth would harness it. As dawn broke over Geneva, Nadia stood at the window watching Alliance ships glittering in orbit. For thousands of years, humanity had looked to the stars and imagined advanced civilizations with godlike powers. Now they knew the truth. The galaxy wasn't ruled by superior beings. It was inhabited by species that had never faced the crucible of evolution on a world like Earth. They'd been watching us, studying us, trying to keep us in a cage, she murmured. They never realized they were poking the predator with a stick. In her earpiece, Admiral Hassan's voice was calm but resolute. Operation Wake Up begins now, Commander. Let's show the galaxy what Death Worlders can really do. The Reckoning. 6 months after discovering the truth, Earth's representatives requested an extraordinary session with the Alliance High Council. The crystalline meeting chamber on the Alliance diplomatic station hummed with tension as Ambassador Michael Chen, flanked by Commander Nadia Reeves and a small security detail, addressed the assembled alien dignitaries. Distinguished representatives, Chen began, his voice measured and calm. For 5 years, Earth has honored its commitments as the newest member of your galactic community. Today, we come with questions about certain classifications and protocols regarding our world. The chamber erupted in multi-species chatter. Ambassador Killorn's skin flashed warning patterns of deep crimson and violet. "I'm not sure what you're referring to, Ambassador Chen," Killorn said, mandibles clicking rapidly. Chen smiled thinly. "I believe you called it Containment Protocol. Earth. Or perhaps you'd prefer to discuss our planet's classification as a death world." Dead silence fell across the chamber. In that moment of stunned quiet, alarm signals began blaring throughout the station. A harried Alliance officer burst into the chamber. "The Vorax fleet has breached the Epsilon perimeter. They've launched attacks against 3 human colonial outposts. The Vorax Imperium, a collection of heavily militarized reptilian species that the Alliance had described as dangerous rivals, had supposedly been contained by Alliance peacekeeping efforts for centuries. Now they had somehow bypassed Alliance defenses to strike directly at humanity's most vulnerable colonies. On the primary view screen, Ambassador Xerix of the Vorax appeared, his scaled face splitting into what might have been a smile on a less predatory visage. "The Death World species will be neutralized as agreed," he announced. "The containment breach will be resolved." As the transmission ended, Chen turned to Killorn, understanding dawning on his face. "You arranged this. The Vorax aren't your enemies. They're your enforcers when diplomacy fails. You don't understand the danger an unrestricted Death World species presents to galactic stability," an elderly counselor said, rising from her seat. "The last time we allowed such a species to develop freely, they nearly conquered half the galaxy before turning on themselves." "You mean the Krell," Nadia said, stepping forward. "We found references in your historical archives. They weren't self-destructive. They were systematically eradicated, just like you're trying to do to us." On the tactical displays, Alliance defensive fleets were already repositioning, away from the human colonies under attack. "This is your one warning," Chen said, his voice cold. "Call off the Vorax, or learn firsthand why Death Worlders should not be provoked." The Alliance made their choice. Official channels cited strategic redeployment necessities as their ships abandoned Earth's colonies to the Vorax assault. What they expected was a swift, devastating lesson that would force humanity back into compliant containment. What they got was something else entirely. On New Haven Colony, Major Samira Doan watched the Alliance ships vanish from her tactical display. 5,000 colonists with minimal defenses now faced a Vorax assault force of overwhelming strength. "So much for our allies," she muttered, activating the colony's emergency protocols. But rather than the standard evacuation procedures the Alliance had established, a new set of directives appeared. Protocols developed in secret over the past 6 months. "This is what we trained for, people," she announced over the colony-wide channel. "Operation Mongoose is now active." Across New Haven and the other targeted colonies, humans moved with calm efficiency that would have shocked their alien observers. Instead of panicking at Alliance abandonment, they implemented defense strategies specifically designed for their unique capabilities and environmental advantages. The Vorax expected to find disorganized, terrified prey. Instead, they encountered something their military doctrine had no framework to understand: an entire species that didn't react like prey at all. In space, the first wave of Vorax boarding parties breached New Haven's orbital platform. Expecting minimal resistance, Lieutenant James Connor led his security team through access corridors, purposely filled with atmospheric mixtures toxic to most species, but merely unpleasant to humans. Without cumbersome environmental suits that would have hindered their movements, Connor's team ambushed the fully encased Vorax soldiers at critical junctions. On the ground, colonists retreated into tunnel systems dug into New Haven's high-gravity environment. The pursuing Vorax, evolved for worlds with one-third Earth's gravity, found themselves exhausted and vulnerable as humans emerged from hidden passages to strike and disappear again. Most shocking to the Vorax commanders was the humans' capacity to continue fighting despite injuries that should have been incapacitating. A Vorax warrior with a broken limb was combat ineffective. Human defenders simply splinted their fractures and kept fighting. Aboard the Vorax command vessel, war leader Thaxus received increasingly desperate reports from his ground forces. "Impossible," he snarled, tail lashing in agitation. No species should be able to function in those environments without support systems. His second-in-command scales paled in distress. "The Alliance briefings didn't prepare us for this level of resistance. They fight differently, not in formations, but in small units that adapt independently. And they don't stop when injured." Before Thaxus could respond, sensor alarms blared. Emerging from New Haven's moon at high velocity came 12 spacecraft of unfamiliar design, ships unlike anything in the Alliance registry. "What are those?" Thaxus demanded. His tactical officer stared in disbelief at the readings. "They appear to be human vessels, but they're generating acceleration forces that would kill any crew." The truth, which the Vorax discovered too late, was that humanity had been developing ships designed specifically around human physiological advantages. While Alliance and Vorax vessels required extensive inertial dampening systems to protect their crews from even modest G-forces, human pilots could endure far greater stresses. This allowed Earth's engineers to design combat vessels that were smaller, faster, and more maneuverable than anything in the galactic community. The 12 Earth ships executed combat maneuvers that would have rendered any Alliance crew unconscious, targeting the Vorax vessels with precision strikes at velocities their defense systems couldn't track effectively. "Evasive maneuvers," Thaxus ordered, but his helmsman struggled against New Haven's gravity well, the ship responding sluggishly. A human voice broke through on their communication channels. Major Thoen, her tone calm and almost conversational. "War Leader Thaxus, you have 12 minutes to recall your ground forces and withdraw from this system. After that, we stop being nice." The Vorax commander bristled at the ultimatum. "You dare threaten the might of the Imperium? We have conquered 100 worlds." "Not death worlds," Thoen replied simply. "And not worlds defended by predators." As if to punctuate her point, 3 more Vorax vessels erupted in flames, disabled by the human attack craft, moving at speeds that defied conventional tactical doctrine. Thaxus made the only rational decision. Within the 12-minute deadline, Vorax forces began emergency extraction procedures, abandoning equipment and, in some cases, wounded soldiers in their haste to retreat. As the last Vorax ship limped away from New Haven, a stunned silence fell over the Alliance observation vessels that had been monitoring from a safe distance. Their sensors had recorded everything: the human defensive tactics, their physiological resilience, and most alarmingly, the combat capabilities they had developed in secret while appearing to comply with Alliance restrictions. 3 days later, an emergency session of the full Alliance Council convened. The recorded battle footage played on endless loop as species representatives argued vociferously about the human question. They repelled a Vorax battle group with minimal casualties. One counselor noted multiple eye stalks blinking in agitation. "No emerging species has ever achieved this. Because we've never failed to properly contain a death world species before," another countered. "This is precisely what the protocols were designed to prevent." Ambassador Killorn addressed the council, his normally smooth diplomatic veneer cracked by genuine fear. "The humans know everything. Our classification of their world, the containment strategies, even our arrangement with the Vorax. Worse, they've developed technologies we specifically guided them away from. Then we must act decisively." The Vorac's representative hissed. A full-scale military response would be inadvisable, interrupted a new voice. Ambassador Chen stood at the chamber entrance, Commander Nadia Reeves at his side. The human delegation had not been invited to this session. Your security isn't as robust as you believe. Chen noted mildly, walking toward the center of the chamber. Much like your military assumptions about our capabilities. Nadia activated a holographic display showing Earth's immediate stellar neighborhood. Blinking lights indicated human military assets that Alliance sensors hadn't detected, ships, defense platforms, and monitoring systems that had been developed and deployed in complete secrecy. We didn't come to threaten you, Chen continued. We came to correct a fundamental misunderstanding. You've been treating us as a problem to be contained, based on assumptions about what predator species must inevitably become. The Krell, began an elderly counselor. We're not us, Nadia interrupted. Yes, humans evolved on a death world. Yes, we carry the adaptations that helped us survive there. But your containment protocols fail to account for something crucial. The same environmental pressures that made us physically resilient also required us to develop cooperation, empathy, and community. Chen nodded. You saw our predatory capabilities and assumed they defined us. But on Earth, lone predators rarely survive. We became apex not just through strength or endurance, but through collaboration and mutual support. The implications of this revelation rippled through the chamber. The Alliance had based millennia of policy on the assumption that Death World species would inevitably be solitary, aggressive, and expansionist, incapable of the cooperation necessary for stable interstellar civilization. We're not asking to dominate, Chen concluded. We're asking for honest partnership. No more containment protocols. No more technological restrictions. No more treating us as a problem to be managed. In the weeks that followed, the Alliance Council debated furiously. Some advocated for immediate military action, while humanity could still potentially be overwhelmed by superior numbers. Others argued for a complete reassessment of Death World containment philosophy. In the end, pragmatism prevailed. The human demonstration at New Haven had proven that conventional containment was no longer viable, while the Vorac's defeat suggested that military action would be catastrophically costly. A new treaty was negotiated, one based on genuine exchange rather than disguised containment. Humanity would gain access to the technological knowledge previously withheld, while the Alliance would benefit from human innovations in medicine, material science, and adaptive systems design. As the new accords were signed, Nadia stood at the observation window of the Alliance station, watching Earth rotate serenely below. They still fear us, Marcus Chen said, joining her at the window. Nadia shrugged. Perhaps they should, a little. Fear can be healthy when it's based on respect rather than ignorance. And what about us? After everything they tried to do. She considered this for a moment. I think we remind them of something important. That adversity breeds strength. That evolution favors adaptability over comfort. Maybe what the galaxy needed wasn't another docile member species, but a reminder that the cosmos is still wild at heart. Beyond the window, Alliance and human ships moved in the same orbital patterns, but with a new awareness of each other. The deception was over. The containment had failed. And in its place, a more honest relationship was beginning. One where the galactic powers finally understood that Earth had always been the predator, but that predators could choose cooperation over domination. They had feared each other until they discovered Earth's true nature. Now they would build a future based on that truth, however uncomfortable it might sometimes be.